PTE Writing summarized written text, where students are making the mistakes, how to fix them, and how our students are getting more than 85 every single time they go and sit in the exam. What are those secrets and how our students are able to get A teach even after so many changes. Hello everyone, this is Vishal from Vision Language Experts. This video is going to be on summarized written text. And did you guys know that summarized written text give about 22 marks approximately towards your reading module? So this task is really important. Now I will be covering where students are making the mistakes, but most importantly how to fix them. And using these techniques and proven strategies, you guys can also get your desired scores, which is 85 in PTE Writing. So number one mistake students are making is they are not able to identify the main topic. Or I would say they're not identifying the main topic. They are just picking the sentences randomly. So the very first thing you need to ensure is that you need to identify the main topic, because without identifying the main topic, you will not be able to pick the relevant sentences. The second point where students are making the mistake is that they are not connecting the sentences. So one of the sentences where is independent, another sentences need to be dependent on it. Otherwise, it's not going to be coherently correct. Because if every sentence is independent, that means you will not be able to link them, you will not be able to connect them. And that's why most of the times students get this feedback in their skills profile that the sentences are not well connected. So that's very important. Another point where students are lacking is that in summarized written text, they are not able to focus on the plot. So this is again very common mistake. Students miss out sometimes important sentences and they are not able to gather them or put them into their summary. Another mistake which I've seen recently is after the changes especially, students are not able to manage time because it's taking too long, right, in order to get the right sentences, and they are running out of time. They are deleting the sentences after writing it, and that's why they run out of time, and that's why they miss in this task. Now, these are the four major things which I will be demonstrating practically how to overcome them and how to get perfect scores using the strategies which our students are also using. Now let's talk about the solutions to overcome these problems. But wait, have you signed up on Vision Language Experts portal? And did you get the free mock test which we are giving to every single student? No? Why are you wasting your time and money, guys, when we are giving you guys a quick analysis of your current status of where you are lacking, what areas you need to improve with the help of our AI mock test, which is the most closest mock test to actual PTE scoring. Now, why it is the most closest? Because we are the official Pearson's partner, and that's why we get certain privileges. And one of the privileges is that we try to adhere their strict policies, score guides, and that's what we have implemented in our portal. So with the help of that, you will get the best, closest scoring, and guess what? For free. So the link is on the screen. Go and sign up and give one free mock test. Okay, now coming back to the solutions. Solution number one, I've already discussed that you need to identify the main topic. Because without identifying the main topic, you will never be able to get the right sentences. But let me show you how to identify the main topic. Now let's take this as an example. This is one of the recent exam questions. Goosebumps are the result of pileoerection, a temporary raising of the hairs on the surface of the skin that occurs when the pileoerector muscles contract. These tiny muscles are attached to the individual follicles from which each hair arises. Then pileoerection is a voluntary response directed by a sympathetic nervous system and is elicited by cold, fear, or startling experience. Then they're saying goosebumps have two functions that serve little purpose to less hairy modern day humans. Okay. Then they are also talking about these two paragraphs, but here guys, they have not mentioned goosebumps a lot. So I have to read these two paragraphs as well. Otherwise, most likely I will not be able to connect my sentences back to this. So I need to read this to understand what they are mainly talking about. One is to keep us warm, which they don't do a very good job on humans. Okay, so they're talking about the functions of goosebumps. So we need to talk about this as well in our sentences. And then they're giving the example. Then they also talk about this section can create a layer of air underneath the animal's fur. And then they're saying pileoerection also occurs when animals perceive a threat is near. And in this situation, these muscles contract. Okay. So guys, what I have done over here is I have skimmed through the passages quickly to understand what is the main topic. And also I realized when I completed the first paragraph that in second and third paragraph, they're talking something different to first. They're basically talking about the functions of goosebumps. Okay, so in my summary, if I do not mention about the functions, then it's definitely going to be incomplete summary. Why? Because 2/3 of my passage is basically talking about functions of goosebumps. Now guys, this was the first thing which I want you guys to do, and that's where students are making the mistake. They're not identifying the main topic. Now once you have identified the main topic, then you can easily work on your second problem. So second problem was that students are not able to connect the sentences because they're picking only independent sentences. So you need to pick mix of both, one independent, another dependent, so that there can be a coherence. Okay, so I have picked the very first sentence because that's where I'm introducing goosebumps, that's where I'm introducing pileo erection. Sometimes the introduction of the topic is not given in the first sentence, so you can start from the second sentence. So now, should I pick this sentence as well? These tiny muscles are attached to the individual follicles? Not really guys, okay, because I have to talk about the functions, and if I include every sentence from here, then I will not be able to have enough words left for my summary. That's where the second problem arises. Students are not able to pick the sentences correctly. So you need to guys ensure that after reading the passage, the main idea is clear in your head, that where you're going to frame your summary. What is the main plot? That takes me to the third problem as well. But sentences needs to be dependent and independent. So for example, I have picked the very first sentence over here. Then I do not need to pick this sentence. I can straight away start from here with the connector of and, because we're still talking positive and positive. We will only use but as a connector when there is something different or contradictory. Okay, so I will use that in today's application. So stay tuned. So over here I will pick up this sentence. Okay, so I've picked up this one, only half of it. Okay, that pileo erection is a voluntary response directed by the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, and then I'm going to put but here, and I'm not going to use this because I have to just introduce pileo erection, because later on I'm going to frame some sentences on it. So I need to introduce it over here. Okay, otherwise it will not be connected. That's where students make mistake, that they straight away put the sentence without introducing it first. That's why there is no coherence. So as I said, some sentences will need to be dependent. Okay, so some sentences needs to be independent, some sentences needs to be dependent, so that you can frame a story. So this again is more of an independent sentence, okay, but it is still connected with this. All right, now other sentences would be dependent on these two sentences. So but we will say goosebumps have two functions. So guys, we are picking this sentence, goosebumps have two functions that serve little purpose to less hearing modern humans. So we can only pick half of it as well, because if you remember this and this, we still need to input in a summary. So we need to cut short some words. So we are cutting short some words because two functions is complete phrase till here. So it's not making any grammatically mistake as well. Okay, so we can do that. As long as it's not making any grammatical mistake, we can cut it short. Okay, so but goosebumps have two functions, and one is to keep us warm. So that's where we have picked this sentence. Let's read here, which they don't do a very good job as. Okay, so we can pick this full, which they don't do a very good job at on humans because we are not furry, and it can be triggered in animals. Okay, because that's what they're saying in mammals, birds, and then they talked about animals away. So if you want to write, you can write away, and it can be triggered in animals. Okay, the last sentence we do not need to write anything from the passage actually, because the last sentence says serve no real purpose, which we have already written away, and then this is about contracting and here to rise, which is not needed because we do not have to explain the process, because the main topic is that it serves no real purpose in humans, because that's the conclusion, that's what they want us to focus a summary on. So even if you want to end it over here, it would still be fine. Okay, so guys, this takes me to the next problem, which is a plot. Students do not sometimes understand the plot. So for that, you need to quickly skim the paragraphs. Do not waste too much time. Okay, and once you've understood the paragraph, then just pick the main important sentences. Now you cannot include everything. Okay, so you need to pick one plot. You need to pick one piece of information. Okay, and complete or basically surround your summary around it. Okay, that way you would be able to get perfect scores. Okay, and again, keep this thing in mind. Your summary can be different to someone else because it's your opinion. Okay, and there's no right or wrong as long as it is very well connected, as long as it is on the main topic. Okay, that's what you guys need to keep it in mind. Now the last problem which I want to highlight was basically taking too much time. Guys, yes, when you start practicing, you can take as much as time you want, because first you need to understand the passages, you need to understand which one will work, which one will not work, right? But as you practice it on a daily basis, you should be able to complete it under 8 minutes, because you need to spend 2 minutes on proofreading. Otherwise, there would be a mistake and you would end up losing marks in spellings or grammar. And guys, after 7th of August, there is no room, right, for mistakes, especially the silly mistakes like grammar and spelling in writing, because we do need 85 out of 90. So this is very important. So just to explain further my point, I submitted my answer and got 2 spelling mistakes because I did not proofread. So to exemplify, make sure that you spend 2 minutes on proofreading, otherwise you will end up making a mistake, guys. Right? Now guys, again, if you need to practice, you can practice on Visual Language Experts portal. This will help you guys to prepare for your exam, but make sure that you do practice, guys, because one question daily is not enough anymore. I have to ask you guys to do 2, and make sure that you follow all the steps, right? Because that's what our students are following and they're getting such an amazing score. Okay, so if they can do it, you guys can also do it. So keep practicing, and if you want me to make a tutorial on a certain topic, put it in the comment section. I will be going through all the comments. I will be replying to all the comments, and then I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you guys. Vishal is signing off from Visual Language Experts. I'll see you in our next tutorial.